Hey, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. It's Grandpa. I'm at the Mayo Clinic. I just dropped off some equipment there and getting ready to do something else in a little while, and I figured I'd jump into the 14th chapter of the book of Mark. Remember, Mark is an action-packed story. It's concise. Doesn't have a lot of language. It's direct and to the point. So now, we're 2 days before the Passover, and we're in the area of Jerusalem. Jesus leaves and comes back and leaves and comes back. Chapter 14, verse 1 says, 2 days before the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So the Passover is one feast, but the Feast of Unleavened Bread is 7 days, and it's in that time frame of the Passover. They're concurrent. I think that's the right word, concurrent. So everybody's supposed to be getting ready for the Passover, but let's see what the chief priests and the scribes, the law experts, are doing. 2 days before the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the chief priests and the experts in the law were trying to find a way to arrest Jesus by stealth and kill him. For they said, not during the feast, so there won't be a riot among the people. So they want to kill him, but they don't want to start a riot. So it's like, oh, well, we can't do it during the feast. Now, while Jesus was in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper, reclining at the table, a woman came with an alabaster jar of costly aromatic oil from pure nard. After breaking open the jar, she poured it on his head. But some who were present indignantly said to one another, "Why this waste of expensive ointment? It could have been sold for more than 300 silver coins." And so it says that that's 300 denarii. But I think we're talking about like months and months of salary. I forget exactly how much in today's value of money. And the money given to the poor. So they spoke angrily to her. And now the head honcho here of this, like, hey, we're going to give this money to the poor, was Judas Iscariot, who is going to turn him in. And so he's going to turn him in for, I think, 30 pieces of silver. He's a crook, or was a crook. And, you know, it's interesting because modern churches are really into, we're helping the homeless and the poor and people that don't have food and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that that's bad. But they'll say, oh, it's biblical. It says in the Bible that we're supposed to do this. Well, really, when Jesus talks about the poor, he's going to say what I think he's going to say right here. Maybe it's not in this one, but in other tellings of this and other Gospels. He says, you'll have the poor with you all the time. And we do. We still have the poor. But Jesus said, leave her alone. Why are you bothering her? She has done a good service for me. For you will always have the poor with you, and you can do good for them whenever you want, but you will not always have me. She did what she could. She anointed my body beforehand for burial. I tell you the truth, wherever the gospel is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her. And we're doing that right now. I don't want to go like poof, but we're doing that right now. Now there's going to be a plan to betray Jesus. So this is it. This is Judas. He's on the big stage. Then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to betray Jesus into their hands. When they heard this, they were delighted and promised to give him money. So Judas began looking for an opportunity to betray him. So now we're going to go to the Passover dinner. Pesach. Now on the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, when the Passover lamb is sacrificed, Jesus' disciples said to him, "Where do you want us to prepare for you to eat the Passover?" He sent 2 of his disciples and told them, "Go into the city, and a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him. Wherever he enters, tell the owner of the house, 'The teacher says, where is my guest room where I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' He will show you a large room upstairs, furnished and ready. Make preparations for us there." So it's not like this is a catering place, but it has been cleaned out. There were certain things that Jewish people did before the Passover to make sure there was no yeast, no leaven, because they had to eat matzah, unleavened bread, and so they would sweep the place out. There was all kinds of things that they did that were extra biblical, and so this is one of them. So the disciples left, went into the city, and found things just as he had told them, and they prepared the Passover. Then, when it was evening, he came to the house with the 12. While they were at the table eating, man, that was like an 85-year-old guy, and he's got a truck that's just like, bah, 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 and it's a new truck. It's not an old clunker. Hopefully he's leaving pretty quickly. While they were at the table eating, Jesus said, "I tell you the truth, one of you eating with me will betray me." They were distressed, and one by one said to him, "Surely not I." He said to them, "It is one of the 12, one who dips his hand with me into the bowl. For the Son of Man will go as it is written about him. Son of Man will go as it is written about him. But woe to the man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would be better for him if he had never been born." So now we're going to have the Lord's Supper, which is when we have communion in church. That's what we're celebrating. While they were eating, he took bread, and after giving thanks, he broke it, gave it to them, and said, "Take it. This is my body." And after taking the cup and giving thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank from it. He said to them, "This is my blood, the blood of the covenant, that is poured out for many. I tell you the truth, I will no longer drink of the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new in the kingdom of God." So it'll be new wine. In France, they have this Beaujolais Nouveau, and when they have the new bottles come out, before they're all the way mature, they have a festival and everybody drinks Beaujolais Nouveau. After singing a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, so now they're out in the Mount of Olives, and we're going to see Peter get ready to try to shine again and fall on his face. Then Jesus said to them, "You will all fall away, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered." And that's Zechariah 13:7. "But after I am raised, I will go ahead of you into Galilee." Peter said to him, "Even if they all fall away, I will not." Jesus said to him, I tell you the truth today, this very night, before a rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. But Peter insisted emphatically, even if I must die with you, I will never deny you. And all of them said the same thing. So he's the leader of the pack. And they're all going like, no, we got your back, Lord. They won't, but... Then they went to a place called Gethsemane. And Jesus said to his disciples, sit here while I pray. He took Peter, James, and John with him and became very troubled and distressed. He said to them, to Peter, James, and John, he said to them, my soul is deeply grieved, even to the point of death. Remain here and stay alert. So he's saying, okay, guys, you got my back, right? I need to communicate with my Father in heaven because I'm grieved. I can't imagine what it's like when God is grieved, but he's telling them that. So let's see if these guys shine in this moment. So they're supposed to stay there and be alert. Going a little farther, he threw himself to the ground and prayed that if it were possible, the hour would pass from him. He said, Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup away from me. Yet not what I will, but what you will. It's very interesting. I don't know what to make of that Jesus is God, but he's also fully man. So it's kind of showing the personal side of him. He's going, okay, I know that this is supposed to happen, but is there any way that it can happen? But then immediately he goes, no, not my will, but your will. And that should be your prayer every day. Not my will, Lord, your will be done. Yet not what I will, but what you will. Then he came and found them sleeping and said to Peter, wake up, you idiot. He said to Peter, Simon, are you sleeping? Couldn't you stay awake for 1 hour? Stay awake and pray that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away again and prayed the same thing. When he came again, he found them sleeping. They could not keep their eyes open, and they did not know what to tell him. He came a third time and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? Enough of that. The hour has come. Look, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up. Let us go. Look, my betrayer is approaching. So he can say into the hands of there's some temple guards, there's some Roman soldiers coming, there's Judas, there's probably some temple bureaucrats that are coming. But he says into the hands of sinners. And we're all sinners. Doesn't matter what it is that you do. It's almost certainly sin. And the only way to get past that is put your faith in Jesus. Right away, while Jesus was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. So this is the bang, bing, bang, boom mark. So right away this happened. They interrupted him while he was going like, hey, look, my betrayer is approaching. They burst upon the scene. Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him came a crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent by the chief priests and experts in the law and elders. Now the betrayer had given them a sign saying, the one I kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him away under guard. This is kind of odd because he's been there turning over tables in the temple and teaching and having people say, whoa, where's this guy come up with all this? He had the triumphal entry. But he's enough of an everyman that Judas, for some reason, has to give a sign like, oh, I'm going to kiss him on the cheek. When Judas arrived, he went up to Jesus immediately and said, Rabbi, and kissed him. Then they took hold of him and arrested him. One of the bystanders drew his sword and struck the high priest's slave, cutting off his ear. So it's Peter. It's got to be Peter. Jesus said to them, have you come with swords and clubs to arrest me like you would an outlaw? Day after day I was with you, teaching in the temple courts, yet you did not arrest me. But this has happened so that the scriptures would be fulfilled. Then all the disciples left him and fled. And in one of the other versions of this, in another gospel, he says, you need to leave these guys go. Let these guys go. And then they left. A young man was following him wearing only a linen cloth. They tried to arrest him, but he ran off naked, leaving his linen cloth behind. And I forget who that guy is. It might have been John. John was very young while all this was going down. Then they led Jesus to the high priest, and all the chief priests and elders and experts in the law came together. So now it's like, yeah, we got you. We got you. We represent God. I used to go to this church in Cape May County, and the guy would say, I'm God's man in Cape May County. I didn't go there that long. And I mean, he loved the Lord and stuff like that, but he certainly wasn't God's man. God doesn't need a man. And when he has a man, unless he's, like Elijah the prophet or something like that, then he's not telling you he's the man. He's just going to do the will of the Father. So now they're going to go to the Sanhedrin. Then they led Jesus to the high priest. And the Sanhedrin is the kind of the city council of the temple. It's where the high priest is the head of it, and there's all these clowns there. It's a clown car. Then they led Jesus to the high priest, and all the chief priests and elders and experts in the law came together. And Peter had followed him from a distance up to the high priest's courtyard. He was sitting with the guards and warming himself by the fire. The chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death, but they did not find anything. So they're still, they have this guy in front of them. They've paid money to have him captured, and he's there. And they got nothing. They got nothing. Many gave false testimony against him, but their testimony did not agree. Some stood up and gave this false testimony against him. We heard him say, I will destroy this temple made with hands in 3 days, and in 3 days build another one not made with hands. And that's not what he said. He was talking about his body, that if they knocked it down, that it would be raised in 3 days. So this is like the game of telephone, where people hear something and then the next time when they tell the story, it changes, etc., etc. So this is a prime example of circumstantial evidence. Then the high priest stood up before them and asked Jesus, have you no answer? What is this that they are testifying against you? But he was silent and did not answer. Again the high priest questioned him, are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed One? I am. So he said what the burning bush said to Moses. I am. I am, said Jesus, and you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power and coming with the clouds in heaven. And so that's an allusion to Daniel chapter 7, verse 13. And they would know this verse. You know, all these experts of the law and everything, they're there. Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, why do we still need witnesses? You have heard the blasphemy. What is your verdict? They all condemned him as deserving death. Then some began to spit on him and to blindfold him and to strike him with their fists, saying, prophecy. The guards also took him and beat him. So now this isn't the Romans yet. I don't think there's any Roman soldiers here at this thing. They wouldn't have let the Roman soldiers might have been out there gathering Jesus, arresting him with his merry band of yokels. But that's not what's happening. They're in this Sanhedrin. It's all Jews all the time, and they're spitting on him and beating him. And what's he saying? Forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they're doing. Because that's what Jesus is all about. Now we're going to get to Peter. Peter, I should have a sound like this sound for Peter. Every time I say the name Peter, it goes wah, 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 wah. Now while Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the high priest's slave girls came by. When she saw Peter warming himself, she looked directly at him and said, you also were with the Nazarene Jesus. So now it's your time. You said, I'll never deny you. I'll never deny you, Lord. I'll die before I'll deny. Oh. But he denied it. I don't even understand what you're talking about. Then he went out to the gateway. And that is the last vestige of scoundrels. Is, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't understand the question. Well, no, I forget. Then he went out in the gateway, and a rooster crowed. When the slave girl saw him, she began again to say to the bystanders, this man is one of them. So, and he could be in danger. He doesn't know if everybody's hunting for them or whatever the deal is. But he's certainly not a hero. But he denied it again. A short time later, the bystanders again said to Peter, you must be one of them, because you are a Galilean. And the Galileans were like the rednecks. In Jerusalem, that area, Judea, that part of Judea, that was the northern part of the country. And even though it's flip-flopped, Jerusalem is south of the Galilee, but Galileans were considered like the local yokels. They had a different accent and everything. So you could tell he was a Galilean. And also, he was a fisherman. He didn't start, wearing business suits when he started following Jesus. He was dressed as a fisherman. Then he began to curse, and he swore with an oath, I do not know this man you are talking about. Immediately a rooster crowed a second time. Then Peter remembered what Jesus had said to him. Before a rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. And he broke down and wept. So once again, we find Peter putting his foot in his mouth, but God giving him a lot of leeway. He can fall, but he's not going to lose him. And Peter's certainly not over the hump, trust me. But each one of these things will make him into the person who wrote the epistles, and actually helped write some of the gospel narrative. He was the source for a lot of it. Anyway, we're getting ready to wrap this up. We have 2 more chapters, and I'll see you soon. Peace out.